Now I'm going to teach you how to play Wits and Wagers. Wits and Wagers is a party trivia game that doesn't require the players to know any trivia in order to compete. Before I begin, I should say that these rules aren't the rules that our playgroup uses. We've adopted the rules popularized by Whil Wheaton on tabletop. But first, I'm going to teach you how to play the game right out of the box. The goal of Wits and Wagers is to have the most points at the end of 7 questions. The game comes with a sand timer that counts 30 seconds. You'll use this both for writing down the guesses and for placing the bets. The game comes with a number of betting chips. The reds are worth 1 point, blues 5 points, and green 25 points. The game comes with pens and dry erase pads for the players to write down their guesses, and a number of wager chips, 2 for each player, that are used to place your bets on the different answers. And finally, and most crucially, the game has a deck of cards that have 7 questions on one face and the 7 corresponding answers on the other. The game is played out in 4 phases, with each player participating in each phase. Phase 1, the question reader, who will remain the same throughout the game, reads the first question on the card that's being used. In round 1, he'll read the first question on the card, and then in round 2, he'll change out the card for a new card, reading question 2 from that card, and repeating this process until you've gone through 7 questions from 7 different cards. The question reader will read the corresponding question, and then, once every player understands the question, each player will have 30 seconds on the timer in order to write down their guesses on their corresponding cards. Once they've done so, the guesses will be placed face down in the middle of the table, and when time runs out, if somebody hasn't written a guess, he doesn't get to. Once all guesses are down, they are sorted from smallest to largest. If 2 guesses are identical, they'll be placed in the same slot, for instance, these 2 8s. If there is an odd number of guesses, you will place them from the center with the middle guess in the center and out from there. The position of the guesses will tell you how much they're worth if they are the correct guess and they're bet on. For instance, the middle slot pays 2 to 1, and out from there 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, and smaller than the smallest guess, which is always reserved, pays 6 to 1. If there are an even number of guesses, as seen here because 2 have been combined, then you do not use the center slot and simply work out from there. Once the guesses have been sorted, you will again have only 30 seconds to place your wagers. Each player will have 2 cardboard wager chips and will start with no other chips at the beginning of the game. You can place your wager chips however you like. You can bet on your own answer, or you can place bets on everybody or other players' answers. You can choose to split your wager chips or bet them on the same answer. If you have chips from previous rounds, you place them, if you like, under your wager chips. These will be bet in addition to the wager chip, which is essentially worth 1 point, but you will always get the wager chip back at the end of the round. Once the bets have been placed in 30 seconds, you can change your bets during that 30 seconds if you like. The question reader will reveal the answer, and then all the players will figure out who has been the closest. The goal of the game is to have the closest answer without going over. So, for this example question, in dollars, how much was each extra paid to run across the beach and scream in the movie Jaws? The answer is $64. In this case, the red player, who wrote 52, is the closest without going over. The gray player was technically closer, but since he went over, no dice. Once you determine the winner, then that answer is paid out, according to the odds on the slot. Since the red answer was in the 4 to 1 slot, every player who bet on it will get 4 chips for every 1 chip bet on that slot, including the wager chip. Then, all the other bets are removed, wager chips are given back, and you're ready to begin the next round. Again, the game is played over 7 questions, and at the end of that 7th question, the game ends and the player with the most chips wins Wits and Wagers. My playgroup wasn't crazy about Wits and Wagers right out of the box, but the version popularized by Whil Wheaton on tabletop did appeal to us, so we've adopted his rules. In Whil Wheaton's Wits and Wagers, the winner is the first player to reach 15 points. Rather than using these chips to place bets on answers, we simply use them to track score. In addition, you will not need the sand timer, so I put it away. In Whil Wheaton's Wits and Wagers, the deck of question cards is passed around the table rather than having one reader for the entire round. The current reader will choose from one of the 7 questions and read it aloud. Then, each player will take as much time as they need to write down their answer on their board, and then they're all placed face down in the center of the table. Then, you begin what's known as the doubling down round. This gives each player the opportunity, in order, going from the question reader, to double down on a particular answer. When you double down, you will take both of your wager tokens and place them still sight unseen on one of the face down answers. If that answer turns out to be the most correct, in other words, the answer that is the closest without going over, you'll get 2 points for each of your wager chips. You must place both in order to double down, so you'll get 4 points or 0. After every player has chosen to double down or not in turn order, then you reveal all the answers and place them from smallest to largest, just like in the regular game. At this point, the players go through another round of betting the same way they did in the doubling down round, except this time the wager chips can be split up and are each only worth 1 point if they're placed on the most correct answer. After that, the player who wrote the actual correct answer, or the most correct, again, closest without going over, will receive an additional bonus point. So if you wrote the right answer and doubled down on it, you'll get a total of 5 points, 4 for doubling down and 1 for having written the correct answer. Once all the scores are tabulated, the chips are given out, and the question deck passes to the next player. He'll begin the next round of questioning the same way by choosing one of the 7 questions, and play continues until one player has 15 points. If 2 players reach this mark at the same time, you'll simply keep playing until there is a clear winner. That's how you play Whil Wheaton's Wits and Wagers.